Um, let's see. My apologies in advance that to wait, I'm hearing myself echo. Is it just me? Cool. Uh, oh, okay, that's better now. Thanks. Yeah. I got off work a little later than normal today, so I didn't have time to like have a detailed look of everybody's work. I tried, but there's some work that I just had to be given feedback as I go. So let's see. Um, I am. Yeah, I'm going to go start with Nigel's since you've been posting since Sunday. And so, first of all, this is a really nice update. I think the a lot of things that you changed and added is now working pretty well. So good job on that. I think the composition now
Linda,
is what.
you're not sharing your screen yet. Sorry.
Oh shit! Of course I didn't. I just freaking turn on OBS and then forget about it. Okay, now we now I'm sharing.
That's what we're here for.
Thank you. Yeah, right. I'm like just talking and then not knowing that if everything's actually properly working. But yeah. Anyway, I was saying that this update's very nice. The composition I think overall was working a lot better, and I think you balance a lot of things. The lighting in general has a huge improvement. I like the water that you change. It might be a little busy, but I kind of don't mind it considering how cartoony the scene is. Same with the sky. It's a very cartoony sky, but it sorts of kind of work with this scene. But I'm not sure if this is a painted sky. It is the style. I just sense that there's a difference in this direction of where the sky and the sun is looking, and versus the everything else has a CG render look, versus the sky has a 2D painted, more, I would say, let's say, arcane kind of look. So I'm not sure if you're still exploring the sky, or is that something we can try to maybe um, like make some changes on that so we can help tying these kind of detailed foreground with the background a little bit better. And with that said, I think overall, I think with a lot of success here. I think particularly the hair shaping is really good. The character shaping has made a huge jump, so I really like that. And one of the first thing I noticed is the slight inconsistency on the key color. So I can see that these characters, the two characters, they'll have fairly warm key, but it seems like the key light color are slightly different. The boy has a slightly more yellowish tone, and mermaid has a little more um, orange and more true to red kind of light down here. So I'm not sure which direction we're trying to go with. And if we're looking at the background, we can also see some discrepancy, which is we have the key lights here, they're really warm. That's more similar to the boy's key light. However, the water, the specular of this water is a lot less saturated compared to this key color. And so maybe it would be helpful if we kind of figure out what color we want to go with. And if this is with the current feel like color, this kind of saturated blue, this color of the sun will actually make more sense. It's more like a midday, like probably like 3 p.m. kind of lighting if you're not like living a different, well, at least where I am right now. It's like it's more desaturated kind of color light. And these kind of yellow golden color, it's more like golden hour, probably like closer to sunset kind of afternoon. So yeah, so it depends on which way you want to go. We might have to adjust the character lighting or the background, or maybe both. And I'll leave that up to you. Another thing that I noticed is since this guy is fairly stylized, it's kind of so what I'm saying here could just be that what I'm seeing is more stylized look, but overall, we are directly looking into the sun. Normally, with any shots that we look directly into the sun, the exposure will be wildly affected because you have such a light source coming in to the shot. So a lot of time, the foreground will be a lot darker, Let me see if I can find a shot with like a sun and like something like this. This is not even directly looking to the sun, like a sunny, bright sun. If I could find one. There it is. Yeah, you will have a lot of, first of all, lens flare from directly aiming at the sun. And a lot of the time, the foreground elements could get directly impacted and will look a lot darker because the camera is trying to accommodate such bright light source in the scene. So we have a few ways to achieve that look. If you want the sun in the shot, we can probably adjust the current lighting and everything on the character, just probably pull it down a stop a little bit, and maybe not even the stop, maybe half of the stop. And when I'm saying stop, it's like camera term. I'm saying the very, very vague way because I don't even know what a stop will actually look like. Let's see. Yeah, this is not even, this is only half a stop. So probably something closer to half a stop to like 3/4 of a stop, just to accommodate the bright light source in the shot. If you don't want to do that, and because I do think you have bigger success on the current shaping and lighting of the character, we can possibly cheat the sun out of the shot and just have like a sky glow somewhere to indicate that the sun is in the shot, but we're not directly looking at it. That could possibly help balancing the shot out. Let's see. Is there anything I'm seeing? Yeah. Yeah, I really like these rock textures. They're very, very nice. Yeah, one thing I want to point out particularly is the shaping on the mermaids here. I think is particularly successful. We're seeing nice details. Still has a nice dark, but still like nice, almost a little bit of rim light on her hair. If possible, I think we can probably even amp up a little bit more, since the sun, if sun is directly coming behind them, her hair will probably be catching quite a strong rim. And let's see. Yeah, and also as far as, I'm not sure if you have a reference for this on like anything you're looking at when you're lighting this shot right now. I do see that this is a common thing I'm seeing, which is, especially at this camera angle, the boy's cheek kind of is not doing us a favor by having this shape that the light have a really hard time rolling off, and thus creating a fairly sharp contrast on the cheek, which is normally actually a work if the sun shadow is extremely sharp. But if you're looking for something that's a little bit softer, that's more like an animated film look, like the reference you're showing in Mona, we could possibly slightly soften the shadow a little bit more. And also, I want to point out that I really like these little bounds that you have on the water. That's working nicely. I feel like we could use a little bit on the underside of the boat, as well as the underside of the boy's arm, possibly a little bit more up here too, on the hair. That can help bring a little bit more detail out here on the dark side of the boy. And yeah, and I see that you have some nice glow that's around the characters right now. But depending on what kind of sky we end up going with, we could possibly add some light wrap on the character, especially on the darker side, that can help them to integrate with the bright sky. Does it help? Do you have any question?
Yeah, that helps. I do have a question about, okay, so how light or dark should the characters be?
Hmm?
Because some people are telling me that it should be brighter, but
Yeah,
you're telling me this should be darker,
actually,
the
if I
characters?
look at the thumbnails, it's not actually, if I look at it zoom out, she's actually probably looks about right. He is a little bit brighter. Overall, his light seems to be a little bit brighter. The key light, and even kind of hard to tell because the fill out on her is mostly a lot of speck, which I definitely like because for dark skin, specular is a great help to bring out that shaping.
Hmm.
So I feel like right now her lighting is working better than his. So we need to figure out how to ideally first having similar type of shaping that's kind of nice, specular from the skylight that's on the skin. And second of all, the
Oh,
key
is
is
it
let me
okay for
see.
him to have a blue field light? Because she has
Hmm?
a blue field light.
Yeah, I think the blue fill light in general is what I would expect in the sunny set, because the sky
Oh,
will in general provide a lot of blue fill. Let's see if I can
okay.
find. Do,
Because
do,
I tried to match
do.
his field light with his skin tone, and I don't think I was successful.
Oh, yeah, let me see. Okay, I found a shot here. So let's say kind of similar type of day, kind of look. Well, again, this is an animated film, so we can see that the
Hmm.
sun on her face is not casting a super strong, sharp shadow. But you can see that her fill light in general is still pretty blue because the sky itself is pretty blue. Does that help?
Oh, yes. Okay.
Yeah.
And about the background, so is that too much of a stylized
Um,
background?
yeah, I think we need to find a balance here. If we're going for this kind of stylized background, we might need to simplify the
Hmm.
shaders of this rock, and also maybe
Okay.
some detail on maybe the boats or the mermaid's tail. But these are all very nice details that we're currently having right now, so it might be easier to change the sky than change these all the shaders.
Okay.
But yeah, let's see.
So
Yeah,
match the colors of the rocks with the color of the ocean, because I guess one looks like a sunset, and then the other looks about right
yeah. The other
for the
looks.
rim light.
Yeah, let's see.
Okay.
I think if we were to go with this kind of current bright blue, this looks like more middle of the day, we will have to desaturate all these key lights, all these ones on the rock, and the one on the boy. Also, maybe a little bit on her as well. This one seems actually a little more redder compared to the rest to match closer to the neutral kind of sunlight we have. In addition, that the fill light I can see has a little also has discrepancy. These rock have a more kind of purple kind of fill light compared to the mermaids, and the boy's
Mhm.
fill light seems on his body seems a lot more neutral than the rest. Yeah, yeah, and also.
Yeah, you caught me.
Mhm.
I used the purplish film because I was like, well, I think it's like blue and yellow. So I guess that makes.
Yeah, it's so. I mean, we all have to cheat sometime. Yeah, we just. Um, yeah, it just once we have overall direction kind of connected together, then we can start fine tune and cheat a little more on the way we want. And I also want to say, I don't see a lot of. I guess these are shadows. They don't have too much reflection right now, which is fine. But I feel like the rocks here seems like they could be casting maybe some. Is this a shadow from the rock?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. I guess here's another thing. Like with sunlight being so far away, it's usually if we're lighting these rock will have the same key direction, which means that if this rock is being hit from the screen right side, this rock will probably also have a similar more screen right side because the sun is being so far away. Right now, the sun is lighting like a spotlight is hitting both side. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Hopefully
it
that
should hit
helped.
one rock.
Yeah, if
Mm-hmm.
you can probably hit this rock over here, and this probably will
Mm-hmm.
these key light will probably be in shadow because in reality, the sun will be hitting like this side of the rock as well. The character we can slightly cheat a little bit because we have to work somehow. We can work it just cheat a little more on the characters just to feel to have the story together better. But at the same time, I would think it will help if we unify the key light direction that the sun is going to be hitting them from here. Then this boy probably have actually have the key light hitting him here from the sun, which will create a stronger light that will actually help shaping him. And this can still be like the residue of sunlight or whatever that still have a bright sky, warm kind of light that's hitting the face. That might actually solve the problem with the cheeks.
Okay.
Let me see if I can find an example what I'm saying. Need to find something that's further away from. Let's see. Well, I know Moana has a lot of shots. I just don't have time to go through. If I find one later, I'll post it downline for you on this Discord channel.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So now, all right, I'm gonna move on to other people since we have progress today. If you have any question about what I said today, just drop them on Discord, and I can definitely help you answer the questions. Let's
All right.
see.
Thank you.
Of course. All right. And next one is Bipul. So yeah, Bipul, I think overall this is looking really nice. And with the just like tidying the glow together and natural light source in here, I think it helps the composition quite a lot. So it actually draws all of our attention to here now, not as spread out. And so so I do have some question if you don't mind that I'm seeing. I think this is getting really close. These are more like fine details I have questions about. Which the first one would be I see there's a purple light coming from this side that's hitting the mermaids here, also on the net, also on the boat, a little bit under the hat. I'm just kind of curious what's motivating the light, where's that coming from? And if we need to keep that light, maybe we could possibly change the hue into something that's probably closer to the colors in the sky. That will probably help to help the light feel more integrated in the scene. And then secondly, I think overall both characters looking pretty nice, and right now the things that are standing out to me the most are actually these decor, these little bits that's dangling on her hair, because right now they are quite bright if we zoom out, because they have such bright they're so bright against her dark hair. It kind of draws plenty of attention. So I'm wondering if it's possible for us to modify the shader a little bit, or maybe change lighting on them to help them sit in a little bit better on her hair, but not drawing as much attention, because a lot of the shader looks like, unfortunately, it doesn't look like they have a lot of details. And I think for some filing touches, I think overall this is all looking really great. For some filing touches, we can probably exploring the option of some lens flare and some light wrap. Again, we have two characters that's against a very, very bright background. We're directly looking into the sun, which is fine, but usually we'll probably get some kind of lens flare that will have these add some glows and softening across both character. It's kind of fun, especially with such a thin stick over this huge light source. I'm actually quite imagine this will be buried quite a lot in the glow. So it'll be a tricky balance to still have the read of the stick and the pose and everything while maintaining the natural feeling. But yeah, I think overall these are probably all the notes I have for you for now. I think you have a lot of successes. The character have great shaping, and I see that you add some detail in the eye, which looks really nice. Maybe she can use a little bit I think too, just to helping her eyes and facial expression more to life. But I think the rest of that is a lot just little like finer detail retuning to get this image closer to like the final polish. So let me know if you have any question. And again, yeah, just are you online right now? Let me see. Yeah, and if you have any question, just drop on Discord, and I can hopefully help answer that. 1 second, let me get some water. All right, cool. And then let's see who's next. Aaron. Hi, Aaron. Nice to meet you. So, I don't think we have met before, but it's really great meeting you today. So, you're saying that this is you're doing it on Real 5, and this is an asset you purchase, and you're looking to create something that's closer to like the adventure kind of mood. Um, yeah, I think my first question would be, it looks like of these images you put, this one from Uncharted is probably the closest to the mood that you're trying to create right now, because these are mostly, they're more like the moments kind of paintings. One thing I do notice working with concept artists and a lot of time their work is that um, they draw in lens like the perspective and lenses that we will never use when we have a camera. So for example, something like this is almost like we almost never use in film. Just these kind of lenses, these kind of distortion that we're gonna have, we're unlikely gonna see in anything that's probably in CG. Let me see. I think okay, cool. Abishek, do you mind muting your mic? I think you're possibly have some noise coming from there. Cool.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
Oh, no worries, no worries. Thank you so much. Yeah, I just want to make sure that people can hear. Cool. All right. So Aaron, I think overall, I think yeah, these assets are like really nice, and your lighting definitely convey the mood of the sunny and exciting. That this is like you just found something that's hidden with the darkening of the foreground, and the camera framing is kind of all pointing to the center of the building, which I assume is the focus of the shot. So with that said, I first thing I noticed was I wasn't really quite sure when I were to look at when I first look at this image, because we have a lot of stuff happening. We have a lot of details, grass, plants, a very rich foreground, midground, background, especially with the bright colors and the saturated colors. It was very hard for me for my eyes to focus on this building. And um I think right now these blue parts are probably the parts that's drawing my eyes into it the most. However, these flowers, I'm assuming they're flowers, they are so bright, and their color palette are the one that stands out the most in this whole frame right now. And also they are quite bright considering a lot of them are in shadow. So I'm wondering if something that we can investigate the shaders for and see if we can possibly change the color of those shaders or desaturating them, and or see if they can respond to the light better. I do know that foliage in real time or even offline render is often one of the most challenging things we can try to work with, just because they're expensive. There's so many of them, and the shaders are hard. So we'll probably have to figure out some cheats or some workarounds if the assets that we have are not working for us. So yeah, I'm not sure how much control you actually have on these foliage. Please let me know, and we can see what's the way we can work around them. So I think the foliage right now that work the best are these kind of foliage because they actually are catching shadows. You can see that they work well because they are bright when the sun is hitting them and they're dark when they're in the shadow. Versus for these trees or these kind of bushes and these vines, they are very saturated and also they don't seem to have this kind of shadow responses that we are seeing in these type of foliages. So not sure, again, I'm not sure if there's anything we can try, because I'm not sure how comfortable you are with these material. So it would be nice to get similar type of kind of key light, the shadow responses of these almost overly bright and looks like little flat wedges because they create a lot of strong patches. If we zoom out, we see a lot of flat, bright patches that's very saturated. That's kind of drawing the attention away from where we need to look at, which is the center of the building. So I think that's one. And then for second part is I think we can add more sky fill into a lot of these dark areas. And I see that we can kind of see this kind of skylight feeling here. You can see that on these rocks. We have these purple, bluish lights that's coming from the sky, which give a very nice feeling. But I'm kind of curious, are these actually from the atmosphere in the fog instead of the actual skylight? Because I'm I would assume if it's from the skylight, we would see similar kind of value here in these dark areas. Maybe not for the foreground, but I think for these kind of mid-ground area in the shadow, I would expect to see something that's more similar to these type of value, which you can also see that in your reference. Let me find a better reference. Uncharted. Let's see. Do. I see this shot every day in my work. It's kind of not a very good quality image here, but slightly bigger. But anyways, what I was saying was like even in the midground, we can see that overall the blackness level is a lot more even. So it has a clear separation in the foreground, which is from this tree and this cliff to the midground. And right now, I think I'm hoping to see something that the fog will also kind of lift up some, or the skylight can lift up some of these areas over here so we don't get as dark. Also in the foreground as well. Right now, the blacks are really, really black, like very little information to expose up a lot to see a little bit. And I can see that there's not a lot of the bluish skylight that's coming in, which if we're under any kind of cover in the cave, the sky will still have a lot of bounce light that will be bouncing around. So I would expect to see a little bit of detail here and a little bit of information even on the ground. So if that's something we can try to add a little bit, I think that would be very helpful. Yeah, but I think overall this is a very nice start. Yeah, I think with a lot of the stuff in games and the assets we get, it's a lot of times just how to get the composition that we need for the asset. And right now, it's the busyness because we do have a lot going on everywhere. It's from the foreground, midground to the background. So I'm not sure what are the best way to simplify them, like what you are envisioning. I think in addition to changing the material, I think we can possibly explore removing a lot of these foliage, like these mid-ground, this looks like clover or grass. Partially it's because they look, the scale of them are very similar. So visually, the visual language they're creating right now, they're not adding too much of variation to the shot. And for these foliages that's on the background, the far cliff, they're nice, but if they're not helping us, like in these cases of these bright bushes, if they're helping us and we can't really have control of the material, it might be better to remove them since the rock itself is also very nice. So it doesn't distract our eyes, and I think the overall shot will still be interesting enough with enough details that can help us focus on the middle. So yeah, let me know what you think. But I think overall this is a great start. Okay, let's see. And next will be Ashley. So hi Ashley, it's nice to meet you.
Hello.
Hi. Oh, you're online. That's great. Okay, so because I do have a few questions, if you don't mind. So you mentioned that your references are The Green Mile and also Suicide Squad. Um, do you have any particular reason of choosing these two films? Like, because even though they are both right now in the prison cell setting, the mood they're creating in these two scenarios are actually quite different. We can see that in the Suicide Squad, they have a nice feel and bounce out everywhere. The composition, the color overall very soft, and also they have some crazy color correction going on. That's very modern and superhero kind of look. Versus a Green Mile is a much, in many ways, a darker film because the story is not as lighthearted. So we see a lot of strong contrast, and the lighting they use are not like this is very strong, very sharp, casting very sharp shadow versus lighting on her are all nice and soft. So do you know which one, like what kind of mood are you trying to create with this current one?
Just trying to match like the Suicide Squad a little more, but I liked that window reference that was behind um in the other
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like that top one there.
Mm-hmm.
So but I was trying to match that soft light uh from the
Mm.
Suicide Squad and those colors more so.
Okay. That's interesting. Okay, that's good to know because if that is the case, I think yeah, I think this right now this frame by itself works fairly well, but it's not what you're trying to convey. So we might have to reevaluate first, like where the key light is coming from, and also the overall contrast level. Right now, what I'm seeing is I also have another question now. Where do you want the key light to come from? Do you want to come from more on the side of the camera so everything is brighter and softer lit, or do you want it to be more backlit from this window as a source light, or from the current lighting setup it looks like it's actually there's a light off screen on the ceiling that's hitting the character, also this
So
chair.
there is a window to his left and there's also a skylights above him.
Okay,
So it's kind of coming, yeah.
okay, that helps. All right, thank you. So if this is the case, I would say for a room with a skylight, also a window on the side, I'm not currently reading the room that way because I only see the light that's on the character. If this window is contributing light, is having light coming through the window, I would imagine this section, like these walls, will all be lit up from the window along with the character. So the light will probably come in here and also hit the wall here a little bit. The floor will be brighter. And then if you have a skylight in general, I think this whole midground section, anything that's behind, even from this fence, I don't know where the skylight or how big it is, it probably will be a lot brighter, this whole room. So that's possibly something that we can try to see if we can have the lighting not just focusing on the character, but also affect the environment. So the character will feel sitting a little bit better, and also you can have a feeling of the lights are coming, the lights are coming from the outside. Because right now this read like spotlight or kind of like a very strong, just like just a light bulb hitting the character by itself. Um, let's say, let's see. Uh, and I also noticed there's some strong bounce light coming from the bottom of the shot. Do you know if there's anything that's outside the camera that's possibly contributing to that light?
I'm not sure what's causing that.
Okay, yeah, for now, yeah, because it looks like I would imagine this is what I would see in my head. There's a huge, like either a sun from top down hitting, there's a floor between this gate and this floor, and the floor is contributing a lot of bounce light to these corners. So I'm not sure if this is something that you want to try or this is what you intended, but this is what my eyes are reading right now. I can see there's a light source coming from the bottom here. And so if we are looking to create something that's closer to the Suicide Squad look, we can probably reconsider this chair. Right now, this is definitely the darkest part of this whole frame, and it's actually the current way is quite moody. So if after we lift this up and give it more key light, also some fill light, I'm not sure how this will look after we change that. It depends on how it will look. We can either consider focusing a little bit more on this foreground element, or possibly just remove it. I think this shot has enough going on. We may or may not miss it, but of course I kind of can't judge right now with the current lighting setup. And yeah, yeah. Also, yeah, I want to ask, what is this on his head?
There's like a chain
Ah, okay, thank you.
there.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, it looks like this is quite a big part of his character, so if possible, after we adjust the character environment lighting, we might want to either modify the material or use the lighting to bring out that these are chains a little bit more. Because yeah, I wasn't quite sure what these were, so it will help to know that these are chains that he possibly broke free from. So that will help with the storytelling element of this shot. And yeah, I think this is probably where we can start with to get closer to this feeling you're trying to go for. Does that help?
That helps.
Okay, awesome. All right.
Thank you
And
so much.
of course. All right, and the next will be Andre. Hey, Andre. And yeah, I think overall with Sky being brought up, and I see a lot of details, lighting on the characters, it's definitely an improvement. So I think the first thing now, looking at everything together after the update, especially with the sky with brighter, is that this sky right now actually creates a lot of visual noise for us. If I desaturate it and give it the color, we can see that it's creating a lot of horizontal line that happens to be around the same size and same spacing, and also unfortunately kind of similar in scale with the wave of the water. So it's not doing us a huge favor helping to focusing on the character, because there's kind of like a pattern going on in the background. So I'm not sure if it's possible that we can change the scale of the sky, or exploring using a slightly different sky that still have this kind of similar mood and feeling, this kind of cloud, but hopefully not as even and not as um, pattern looking, especially kind of when lines up with water.
Uh-huh. Cool.
Cool. Yeah, and I think overall the character lighting definitely has some improvement, and few things I want to say are with if you look at our references again, we can see overall the body, the hair, and everything has quite a bit of um, difference in overall shaping from like the key side to the fill side. And I wish that we could have a little bit of that. I think the face is actually working okay, but maybe we can add a little bit of that on the body and also the arm, the hat, the boat, and maybe a little bit on the net itself. So because if we kind of look at this in black and white again, the hat itself is kind of like a flat value. Same thing with the body. And the bow, we see the difference in the shader's color, but not overall shaping that's giving us that round feeling of a boat. So yeah, so hopefully we can use some light to give them some shaping.
Okay.
Yeah. And I would say similar thing about the mermaid's hair. I think it's great that we get these details now that this reads like hair a lot more, but if possible, it would be great to have like the key light, especially the key lights in the middle, like they'll be hitting her that probably create a fairly strong rim light around her hair, and also have like something that's rolling off. That's like this, like the key side rolling off to the shadow side. Because right now these are all still fairly even. But the sky, what the sky is doing is really nice. So we can keep that, maybe darken the skyline on her here a little bit, having something that's shaping that's from where the direction of the sun is, and possibly a rim light on her. And with that same, yeah, and with that same thing, that will be we can possibly apply to her face as well. I think her face right now has better shaping, but I can see that the boy has a nice, this little thin rim line that kind of helps adding more shaping to her. Maybe we can do a similar thing to her to kind of help shaping just like the curves on her face a little more. Same thing with the body on this shoulder, because yeah, it's a little bit tricky right now with the sky color and their skin color. They kind of blend in together. Like the value kind of looks okay, but because they're so similar in kind of the saturation and the kind of hue they have, so these kind of shaping will definitely be very important for us to separate the character in the background. Yeah. Yeah, and I know that somebody already mentioned about the tail, so I won't comment on that. It's okay.
Yeah, the tail was just that it looked nice to me as like kind of transparent, so I didn't do anything to it. But
Mhm.
I can have it less transparent.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It looks like the scale is not like attaching to the shape of her body itself. I'm not sure what's happening exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Also, I'm not sure if this her tail has a separate light. It does feel like to me that the light on this tail is a lot more neutral. It's not as pinkish or reddish compared to the other lights I've seen the scene.
It's the same light.
The same light? Okay.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe I need to the material. Maybe.
Yeah, sequins are hard. Let me see. I need to go find some reference with sequin, because sequins they kind of change the specular response when with the light. Typically, when a light hits something and create a specular, the specular will be the exact same color of that light source because it's just a reflection of the light. With sequin, I think it acts more like metal. It has its own color that will kind of distort the color. So I need to look specific reference for what this probably could look like. And I think another thing on her is I like these kind of specular that adds more shaping on her. But right now, I'm not sure if something in the shader or is it patch you added on. These specular looks a little bit more like a little bit metallic than like wet water. So yeah, I'm not sure if there's anything we can do about that. If it's too difficult, then let's just not worry about it. Let's not worry about witness. If it's like, oh, this is just an extra thing we have to do, then we could just focusing on making the characters look right. But if we can get a wet looking, great. If not, let's just worry about it later.
Okay.
Yeah. And the last, I'm kind of curious is, do you know what could be possibly contributing to this dark spot on the water?
I think that because I think it's because there's a pretty big wave where the
Mm-hmm.
boat is.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's kind of because there's nothing dark there.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's kind of like just the shape of the wave.
Mm-hmm.
But because that one is the biggest wave of the whole ocean that I have,
Mm-hmm.
it's the biggest shadow also.
Mm.
So I don't know. Maybe I can smooth the ocean. You
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it just right now kind of draws my attention. It feels like there's something over them that's casting the shadow or this reflection. So it would be nice if we can kind of have the shadow colors or similar to the other area, so it's less distracting.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think that's pretty much the notes I have for now. Oh, yeah, light wrap. So the similar notes I was giving to Bipul and Nigel earlier, that would be with something that's with two characters against a bright sky and the sun in the middle, which I assume the sun is in the middle in this case. There will be quite a bit of light wrap on these characters, which you can see they are all like here. These are, it's really hard to point them out directly when looking at the image by itself, but you can see it. This a little bit of light wrap that's contributing from the background, that's kind of tying the character into the background. That's super bright in the sky. So if possible, maybe we can add some light wrap after we had the um, character lighting, the room light shaping in there. I think they would really help kind of blend these kind of dark areas in the foreground into the background.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's this. And let's see, who's okay, Justin. Oh, Justin, I'm gonna have to we pull this here. Justin, I have a question.
Yeah.
I'm seeing the EXR, that's a little bit different, like almost gamma wise compared to the render of MOV. Do you know which one I should be looking at? I can see that this is not as dark as the MOV, like here.
Yeah, it should be the lighter one. I'm not sure why the video is so dark. I'll have to
Okay.
double check that.
Yeah, could be the color space, compression. All right, if this is the case, yeah, because I do think it looks correct on this one, so I wasn't sure that. Yeah, I was gonna say about like something about these areas being too dark in the video, but if this is the correct one, then that wouldn't be valid. But overall, I think the update is really successful. Um, I think it really helped focusing our attention to the middle part in this room. So that's very nice. One thing I think overall, it's just these are at this point it will be just like the smaller details that I can say right now, but preferably I want to see the whole video before I start giving these smaller detail notes. So let's see. Yeah, let me just look at the video again just to see. Yeah, yeah. So after we bring up if we can fix the game or whatever is causing this dark, we just need to make sure to double check that um, if the shadow area are being too dark, and also if this is actually looking at outside, this little blue area, if there's any kind of opening from this side, there's a if this actually this is glass and we can see the outside, we might have to pay a little bit of attention of if these are being too dark for something that has a window right there. And other than that, it's kind of hard to show. I think right now these areas are looking very nice through these glass. I think you did a really great job of simplify all the details and still have the information that's kind of interesting to look at but not distracting. So that's very nice. Let's see. I guess. Yeah, the rest of the things are just gonna be the small things. Yeah, I guess these are all small things, so we can just after you updated, I will check again to see if these are actually valid. I noticed that these rocks seems to be lit by a little bit differently. It's just unfortunate because in the middle of the frame, kind of Jordan thought just kind of something this area is something we'll be looking at as I noticed that these here have a little more warm light hitting them versus these are more in the shadow that has like this more purple kind of feel light. I'm not sure what's causing that. Because I'd imagine if the light source is from the top or from the side, and this way it probably looks like on the side, these rocks will be lit very similarly. And other small things that I'm noticing are I don't know if these chairs are casting shadows or reflection. Super small thing. It's just something like I kind of noticed because I can see the pot has a little bit of reflection here, but the chair doesn't seem like they are doing the same thing. And also another small thing. Again, this might not be the right thing to be looking at. Yeah, there's something that's kind of greenish yellow that's over here. That's not really, I'm not seeing anywhere else. Like if any kind of fog atmosphere contribution from the outside, that right now I'm not seeing this hue anywhere else. It kind of stands out to me a little bit. That's behind these glass. But it's not overall not too distracting. This is a very fine detail. But I think overall, yeah, this is looking really nice. What do you think? How do you feel about this so far?
Yeah, I'm much happier with it. The shape details are really got me. Just kind of removing all those, and the piece is much clearer now than it was before. So, thank you so much for your help.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I think overall for a scenario like this, I think you did a very good job. And yeah, we can look at this in the video. Hopefully, we can figure out what's causing the colors to be looking so different. And yeah, because I think right now the foreground area is working all fine. We just need to focusing on what we need to look at, and it's kind of hard to tell without the camera moving closer. So if the video doesn't work, maybe you can have another frame that's at the end of the shot. I can probably look at that too.
Yep, sounds like a plan. Thanks so much.
Awesome, of course. Let's see. Okay. All right. Let's see. Raghavendra. Here we are. Hi, Raghavendra. I see you made a lot of updates since we last talked, and I see that it's really good effort. I'm kind of again, I have some question if you don't mind answering, which is in this case, in this current update, I think we have quite a bit of a direction change as far as the mood that you were trying to achieve. So compared to the last time in your references, sorry, let me get some water. This is a much like Could be morning, could be sunset, but over the color in the frame are more softer and more pastel looking, and versus we kind of had before, but in the updated version, I see that the color got a lot more pungent, and which also is beautiful, but it's kind of not where the references was going. Even in these kind of shots, the colors are still a lot softer and more pastel-like. So it would be helpful if you can tell me if these references are still the kind of similar kind that you're going for. If not, we can definitely pivot and figure out what we're trying to achieve together. So in addition to that, I think a lot of the things I want to say this time are quite similar to what we were saying last time. So I see that you already updated the composition, which is great because right now we don't have these kind of clippings, these kind of weird tangents on the character. But um, right now, for a shot that is almost the weights are equal between the two characters, I noticed the camera is slightly bit offset to the left, so we can see a little bit more here of the sun. But in a way, it's kind of not helping us balancing the shot itself because it's almost implying there's something that we want to look at behind her, but not really with what we currently have. So maybe I would recommend maybe we can just crop this frame over here to get a more traditional kind of framing, just so we can focus on the two main characters. But that's just a suggestion. Maybe we maybe if we add more interesting details over here, if you decide to do like a very interesting like reflection of the sun and the water, that will definitely help justifying the camera looking at this angle a little bit more. But just for what we have right now, it's kind of the composition is not really helping us to focusing on the things we want to look at the most, which are the two characters. But definitely already a huge improvement from the last time. So very nice job. And again, I want to talk about the key fill light ratio, as well as the color of the key fill light and how they will help tying the characters with the background together. So right now I can see that the boy has a lot more light on him than the mermaid. So we can either bring the mermaid up or darken the light that's on him, especially on the fill light side. If the key light is going to be coming from this direction, and I can see yes, then she will be in shadow for the most part, and the light will be hitting on his face on this side, but at the same time, this area that's not being hit by the sunlight will probably a lot darker and have more contribution from the fill light, which will be cooler instead of these warm fill light. And right now, because he has a lot of room filling on his face, it kind of flattens the face out a little bit, that we don't get the nice kind of shaping of the contrast of the key side and shadow side on his face. So I recommend us darkening the fill light a little bit and using more the blue and cooler color from the skylight to hit this side instead of the warmer lights. Also, the fill light colors, please correct me if I am wrong. I feel like some of the fill light colors a little bit greener or cyanish compared to what we have in the sky. So if you look at here, I'm not sure. It's kind of quite a low res picture, probably not the best judge. That we can see that this kind of area is a little bit greenish, and the hat itself, kind of hard to judge. The hat itself is also a bluish color, so the local color could have something to do with it. But I can see that this color of the fill light that's in the bow seems to be a little more saturated. It could be the same saturation, but more on the green side compared to these kind of blue. Also, same thing with the fill light on her. I feel like there are some more neutral or some kind of greenish lights hitting this area. I'm not sure. So maybe we'll just have to change the lighting color to be more um, just like this type of blue. That can help tie in this backdrop into the character better. And the mermaid's lighting, I think right now she's having a little more shaping compared to before, but overall kind of still very evenly gray. So if the key is coming from here with the sun, I think we can probably punch the in this case almost like a rim light on her a little bit more to have a little bit more brighter feeling of this is the sun hitting them. Have kind of like almost a fake kind of wrap kick lights from the sky that have these kind of colors, whichever probably I'll probably say one of the bluer or purplish color that's filling on this side, like what you have right now, but probably won't be as warm and could be slightly brighter, so we can help bring the shaping of this side of the face more. So and then have the dark side go a little darker with fill, and you're also making sure that we're using the color of the sky. And same thing with the body area. We probably will want to keep the size of her body having some of the light coming from the sky, but since she'll be facing mostly back to the light, she'll probably have quite a bit of dark core on her body. Same thing with the tail, because in general she's backlit. Let me see if I can find a better shot. Oh, sorry, kind of hard to tell. Find a reference right on the spot. What else? Okay. And another thing I want to mention is like the overall saturation of a lot of things. Bright colors are great. They makes the film really interesting and very appealing to look at. But sometimes when there's too much of them, it can be kind of distracting for our eyes on what to focusing on. And right now we kind of have quite a bit of very saturated colors. The sun is very colorful. The clouds also are very, very bright. The sky is also very saturated. In addition of that, the water itself is a very saturated blue. And we have also a green on her tail that's also quite saturated. So when we have so many saturated color from all across the color wheel, we kind of pull our eyes away and not sure like where we should be focusing. So I think we could possibly desaturate the sky and the water a little bit more, do something closer maybe to like this. Sorry, I wish I have a better reference right now, but this is what I have on the spot. And this was one of the original references. So you can see that the water itself is not as saturated blue, it's a little more muted. They also have a lot of speck from the sky, which is even less saturated, which you kind of have, but the speck right now is also very saturated. That can help to feel the scene is more realistic, because in nature that we rarely see all these super saturated colors together. Of course, in animation we'll use it a lot more, but usually they use it with a purpose so that they can help focusing on where the eye should go to. So like in this case, you can see that even though it's a very saturated lighting scenario, the most saturated area actually is still on the characters and also on Maui's skirt. I don't know what to call this anymore. Yeah, it's like very similar color palette we have all around in this frame, but they chose to have the most saturation on the characters and the skirt itself. So we can possibly use a similar approach here, desaturate the backdrop on the sky and the ocean a little bit, so we can focus in on the character a little bit more. And so we covered the key fill light color, backdrop, and last but not the least, I want to I still think we can play with the hair shaping a little bit more. I see that you add the rim light almost, I think, a little bit over here, or that, or just I can't really. It's kind of hard to tell on this image. But I think we can have a similar kind of approach when we're talking about the mermaid's body, which is have since the sun's coming from this way, having a very strong sunlight hitting the edge of her hair. That's creating a nice rim light on her hair. That will be closer, something to like this, or something like you can see it on your references. They have their hair catches a nice light from the key light, and have a nice shaping that's kind of from the bright area when the sun is rolling out to the shadow side, and maybe a little bit of fill light and coming from the sky. So the overall, it will feel like a sphere because the hair is more spherical. So that will kind of give us a lot of interesting information to look like without feeling the hair is just kind of like darkness that doesn't have too much information. Let me see if I can find a good reference. Do, do, do. Yeah. I guess this is probably as good as I can find right now. Sorry. I love Soul's lighting dark skin character. I think they did such an amazing job. But I don't know how well you can see over the scores, or you can see that when the sun is hitting, they have some nice bright here area here, and they have some edges that's catching from the sky or the fill as inside the shop. But overall, there's like some transitions from the bright to the darkness. But in this case, of course, it's kind of sharper because there is something, the door frame or something's blocking it. But overall, we don't lose the detail that's in the characters here. They still have shape. That's not the best shot because the character's hair is not really brown. So bear with me. Sorry. But hopefully my point was can get across that we can see more shaping in the characters here. And then we go, okay. And then Abishek. Sorry, let me get my water. Oh, I'm thirsty today. Jeez, it's dry in LA. Cool. Hi, Abishek. So I see that.
Hey Linda.
Hi. Yeah, also you're online. Yes. So I see that you did quite a bit of updates since we last talked, which is great. I see these overall are huge improvements that I can see that where the key light, the light source is from, that's very clearly, and also the overall composition and the movements rebalance. So I think this is like a huge jump. So nice job. Um, so the part that I will have some feedback would be if her tail is the light source, which actually reads the light source pretty well in here. It's like a very big spherical kind of soft light, soft glow she's giving off. So I have some question about if it's possible we can soften a lot of these shadow that's on the boy. I'm particularly talking about these strong contrast on the arm and also the shadows casted on his shirt. Because I would imagine it's like something will be closer to something that's like on her body, since the light source is quite big in relation to his size as well. I think will also help to feel this kind of more mysterious, the soft glow feeling that you referenced looking into. We see the blue light on her, but overall it's all very soft and gentle. So I think softening the shadow will help. And so I think the shaping on the boy is a little bit better. If possible, I would like to see a little more transition it has to do with the shadow sharpness that I was talking about earlier, but I'm not sure if the face has the same light or it's a different light. Either way, I think it would be nice to have some of these softer transitions. I'm not, probably not the. In this case, that would be this kind of transition. This is her key light that's hitting her like these spots. She has a rim light. She has a bounce light from the glowing ocean, and possibly a skylight that's filling the rest. So I'm hoping to see something that's more like a softer transition like these. And right now, this is still relatively quite sharp. So it'll be nice if we can get that similar kind of um, visual language of the softness that kind of will have a little more magical feeling to it. And on her face shaping, I think if we again look at the black and white, her face is fairly flat compared to the voice. So we can probably do a little bit more to help bring her face out. So if I'm not sure if you're actually using this as a real light source to cast light on her face, but if not, I think it would be nice to have a light that's coming from like lower up that just hitting hopefully just mostly this side of the face on the screen right, and kind of leave this side, the screen left side from the cheeks to the ears, kind of just a little darker. So we can have her facial expression more on the key side, which will also kind of happens to be the light sources, and roll off into a darker side. And her chin and her neck can still be fairly have some bright kind of bounce light that's coming from the tail, but that will also help separating the character's face from the background. But overall, just a little bit more interest, like shaping transition from the bright side into the dark side. Right now, she's missing some darks, like on her arm. Like the arm actually is working pretty well. You can see that where the keys hitting, transitioning to the dark, and then you also have the skylight that's like hitting the screen left side of her arm. So the arm is working great. If something we can get something that's more similar to her face, that would be nice. And
Linda, just have a question regarding the eyes. I
mhm,
am not able to get the eyes proper for both the character. What should I do about that?
you are not able to get the eyes for um, you're not able to
Both,
light
both.
I both.
Yeah, like for mermaid and for boy also. Eyes are feel not looking proper, I guess. I don't know
Yes.
what I'm doing wrong.
Okay. I think so these are all from the lights. These look this eye thing is from the light source itself.
Uh, no, actually, I made items actually.
Oh, cool.
It's not from.
Yeah, I think yeah, the eye thing on the boy is looking right. That's it's probably because you didn't comp. It doesn't bother me. Um, so if you're feeling like the eyes are not looking right, there could be a few reasons. That could be that the light is, let's see. Yeah, usually if the eyes are not looking right, it could be that the iris, I'm not sure what the shader is like. We might have to do something in comp just to help bring in the iris out a little bit with the green light, just so that it's not all black in here. A lot of time,
I
even in film, we cheat the eye a lot, especially animation features. The eye usually almost always to get a right look is always in comp. So no shame in doing this in comp. Yeah. So if
okay. I
we can,
think I will change the iris.
yeah, you can change iris colors just so you can have a little bit more variation of the colors that's being lit by the light. That's so it's not as a flat dark.
Uh, like some kind of Japanese anime that has some
Oh, let me
very
show you.
different eyes.
Let me show you what it's supposed to look. Let's see. Mhm. like this. So right now,
Okay.
yeah, all we need is really just like, uh,
Yeah, I got it.
you got it? Yeah, just a
I
little
will.
ring.
Yeah, I got it.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I will add. I will change the texture basically for the iris. Then that
Hmm.
will be much easier for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the theme right now is, oh, is little is mm, I say the size and the position is roughly okay. It could be a little softer and maybe a little smaller,
Okay.
but I think right now the boy's eye doesn't bother me as much. And if you really want to get into more detail, you can possibly have more shaping on their eyeball, the eye whites, just to have from the bright to the dark. Same thing with like any the sphere. I was talking like from the key side to slightly darker side. But
Okay.
it depends on the look of the film. A lot of time they want the eyes to be flatter looking, depending on the art director. So right now it doesn't bother me as much. I think after we kind of get everything else tightened together, we can probably focusing on eye a little bit more. But right now I think it's
Okay.
this is okay. Her, I would say she probably have a little more issue. Just from this pose, I'm trying to find if I can find a better shot to look at her eyes. Ah, wow. Oh, not a good shot to look at. Tiny. Ah, her eyes are like this. Cool.
Okay.
Yeah, so if possible, we can we can absolutely cheat it and come. You can render her eyes out in a separate pass with nothing, just by regular white light, and we cheat it and come if we need it.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, but the white light is just to help to get the local colors out. But we had to probably have to make sure this still looks like hit by green, lit by green light when we do it in comp. But something, yeah, some her eye whites are not catching the lights, and I'm not sure why. I'm not sure if it's any light linking or the position of the light that's not hitting her eye whites. That's something we can look into. And as far as the IDs, yeah, we can worry about that later. Usually I don't start giving eye notes until later on, since usually that's like final details we can focus on.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah, I would say it's not well. We want to start on eye right now, sure, but in general we can worry about that later. Because who knows, if you change your key light direction, the eye lights will look different too. So yeah.
Possibilities.
Mm, yeah. Um. Okay.
So
And mhm.
you were telling about tail light source something.
The daylight source.
Yeah, if it's the main light source.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if it's the main light, you mean the tail? It's a main light source.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what was your question?
Uh, I you were explaining actually. I think
Oh.
we just completed the character shaping. I think you need to go to that green light
Oh.
castings.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I see that you have some nice reflection, the water right now, but what I'm missing is this as a light source on the water. Because right now, this doesn't, it looks like it's a comped image that's on top of it instead of like a light source that we would see that is that will create some strong specular and also being like this. Like you can see this
Okay.
light in the background, whatever this is creating these kind of nice specular and also being distorted. Versus right now, her reflection and this green light is not creating similar specular on the water.
Okay.
Yeah. Um. Yeah, and I think overall, yeah, this is a huge improvement. I do want to ask, are these meant to be light sources right now? These pearls?
No, I don't think.
Okay. Yeah. Because if we look at, especially we zoom out, aside from this tail, these pearls actually are the second, almost like brightest thing with the highest contrast in the area. It definitely drew my eyes to these pearls since they're pretty bright and glowy. So we might have to consider um,
Okay, I'll
lower in the
reduce it then.
lights. Hmm?
I think there is one light source near to that mermaid tail, so I
Mm-hmm.
think that might affect that also. That's why
Yeah,
it's glowing.
yeah,
Okay, but
yeah,
I'll reduce it then.
yeah. It's probably yeah, that makes perfect sense. They'll get hit by the light, but probably we can probably darken them a little bit so they don't create these distractions for our eyes.
Okay.
Um, yeah, and I think um, I like this the green light that's hitting the hair. It creates some nice shaping from the bright area to the dark. I do see that there is a glow on it that's kind of softening a lot of details. It's like quite a tight glow I can see here on the tail and also on here. That's kind of so we're not seeing these kind of sharp details on the hair. Um, Having a glow is great, but I think this glow will probably have to look into how you're creating this glow because right now it looks more like a blur than glow to me. It doesn't look um, like what a glow would look like. I'm not sure if you understand what I'm saying. Like, like these are softer. You don't see like these kind of uh, strong
Edge,
fall
edge
off.
line,
Yeah. Mhm.
kind of edge line.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's probably the similar things that's with her hair. Another thing with glow is glow only comes from light sources or bright areas. So if right now her hair and her skin are not as bright as the tail, so I'm only expecting to see glow around the tail. I wouldn't expect to see glow on her hair because they're not
Okay.
supposed to be the bright spots. Yeah, and one last thing will be, I think this is over really a huge improvement. Just one last thing is the saturation of the sky itself.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think we can possibly desaturate a little bit so we can focusing,
probably.
yeah, on the green light and the characters more. But yeah, I think that's the main things I want to talk about today. I think it's already a huge improvement. So yeah, definitely have that.
Yeah. Okay. Actually, I was trying to add some fog behind the characters,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't able to get that much.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I was running out of time also.
Oh yeah, no
So,
worries.
so I thought I will fix it in next pass, I guess. But
Yeah,
I just have a question regarding what should be the color of the volumetric when we render it from the Maya.
the value of the volumetric when we render from Maya,
Yeah,
like the
yeah,
volumetric on the fog.
yeah.
Um, I don't think there's a fixed answer because you. Oh, I don't know how if
No,
you're breaking it out. Hmm.
no. Just a question regarding that. Do we generally do the color correction in Nuke, or we just render out with the color information?
We usually the places I used to work at usually do it in Nuke. There's a base
Okay,
color that based on the light. So usually whatever we'll try to match the skylight color on the volumetric. Usually that's what the fog will look like. Just so I can give an idea when I pull it into Nuke at first before I doing heavy color correction. But that was just like a start, just to for me. Okay, this is what the sky color looks like. The fog will probably look like this color. Bring to Nuke to start. Usually there's a lot of tweaking after that.
okay, got it.
Hmm. Yeah. So I think let's see. I think that's about for Theo, I'm not quite sure what kind of feedback you're looking for right now. Sorry, Theo, let me pull it up. Yeah, because I'm not sure if there's any lighting notes you're looking for. This doesn't seem like a lighting project to me, and I am not an editor. I wish I was a better editor that I could give you these kind of feedback. So yeah, please let me know what particularly you're looking feedback for on this video, and maybe I can help out. And for Donnie, um, Honestly, I would say ship it. I think this is looking great. Yeah, I don't really have much notes for you. You already addressed everything I talked about. I think, yeah, it's not exactly the same because, of course, the geometry is not the same. So how can we usually just try to match the mood. But I think you got it really damn close and great job. I think you're done. Unless you have other stuff you want to work on you're not happy with, then let's talk. Just post in the channel and let me know. Other than that, yeah, I think that's it for today. Does anyone have any questions?
Yeah, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
I asked that if I need some more feedback in my poker puss,
Oh, sorry, you got lost. Yeah. Let me
or what
see.
do you think?
Sorry, I'm scrolling up. Yeah, I think your current version looks great. It's just after you this one, right? After you remove the specular that's around the mouth.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it looks fine.
So, do you think it could be good for the portfolio, the reel? It's
Yeah,
okay,
yeah, I think definitely
and I
this
can
you should
continue
pretty.
with another shot.
Yes, for sure. Yes.
Great. It's nice to hear.
Yeah. Sorry if I wasn't clear earlier. I thought I replied. Maybe I didn't. It's a lot of messages today. I'm sorry. Got
Yeah.
lost.
No, don't worry.
Yeah. But
Thanks so
overall,
much, Linda.
yeah, yeah, great job for everyone. So, well, let's see. I don't think I'll be able to do a live critique on Wednesday night this week. Uh, there's something else I need to be doing, but I can possibly do one tomorrow and Thursday, depending on how many people are posting for feedback. So I will definitely keep the channel updated. So yeah,
Cool. Thank you.
of course. Thank you all for coming.
Thanks, Anna.